Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the sixth form question and answer event. Thank you to those of you joining me live, and welcome to those of you who are watching this as a recorded video on our school website. My name is Matthew Bornat, and I've been the head of sixth form here for 2 years. Previously, I was the assistant head of sixth form here also. I'm going to talk you through some points around how we have developed the sixth form over the last few years to identify trends and patterns affecting the sixth form's performance. And I will finish with some frequently asked questions. My aim is to help parents and carers understand the path ahead for their children, and to let you know how we're going to help your child to engage with the various challenges before them. If you have any questions, please use the chat function on the meeting. Miss Sword, the deputy head teacher, and Mr. Lewis are both coordinating the meeting chat. I want to talk now about some of the recent headlines from the sixth form to show how we're continually developing the sixth form. We're very proud of our students and the top destinations they go to when they leave us. From the table you can see that more students are getting into their university of choice, more are getting into top university, Russell Group universities and Oxbridge, and more are getting into Oxbridge as well. These are crude measures. Admittedly, some small universities can have excellent specialisms, and likewise apprenticeships or music conservatoires can be more appropriate destinations for some. But regardless of this, it's clear from the last 4 years of data that we're making gains in our destinations. Over the last 4 years, we've also been creating an ambitious and broad curriculum in the sixth form. All students will take 3 A levels at least, 4 A levels are available, and AS levels are available in some subjects as well. Further, all students have access to the Friday lecture and to Wednesday enrichment electives, keeping their curriculum broad and allowing them to develop skills in research, public speaking and interview practice. It also allows them to develop knowledge in areas like languages, maths and art. We have careers and university information regularly shared through the Friday lecture, and opportunities for WEX are shared through the careers team and also our Oxbridge coordinator. PSHE and reading feature regularly in the sixth form in registration time. So in short, we're proud of our extensive and ambitious curriculum. We are not an exam factory. We don't narrowly focus on just the A levels that your child will study. Rather, we allow for many enrichment opportunities, and we look forward to continually developing the breadth and depth of our curriculum. The improved destinations and improved curriculum in the sixth form and many other developments around the school have seen an increase in demand for places at Newstead. The numbers speak for themselves. We have nearly doubled our intake whilst also increasing the calibre of the students in our sixth form. We have increased retention of our own students dramatically, and this has been a central component of developing our sixth form. Alongside this, we have over 400 students applying from elsewhere, and so now we operate a waiting list given the huge demand. All Newstead students are privileged in the sense that we have to give an offer of a place in our sixth form to them. It remains important to us to keep as many of you as possible, and I hope that you're convinced enough by our ambitious curriculum and our improving destinations to stay. Tomorrow we have our taster day, and this is the beginning of your sixth form journey. This evening and tomorrow we're trying to immerse you within your subjects, to provide you with subjects that you're passionate about, challenge you to learn, and start getting you to think about how best to prepare for your A levels. If you have any questions around the taster day, then please do use the question and answer chat box. During the taster day, we have the careers team available throughout the day in the hall to offer advice around which A-level subjects complement one another, especially with a view to university application. But likewise, the sixth form staff and the head of year 11 are available for discussion around A-level choices, enrichment and extracurricular activities. Do also remember you can get in touch with the sixth form team in the future on sixthform@newsteadwood.co.uk. The next step after taster day in your child's sixth form journey is the induction taking place in July 2022 after their GCSE exams. They're going to be invited for 2.5 days of induction, where we will recap GCSE material and commence their A-level studies. Bridging units will be set at this time to sort of set work over the summer, which will help to lead students into their A-level courses. They will also become more familiar with the sixth form expectations and routines, meaning that September, students will have an easier time, meaning that settling in is minimised and we can get on with the business of learning. In summation of the Newstead sixth form journey, from the very moment your child comes to Newstead, we're helping them to carefully and wisely prepare for the time they actually leave. To be successful and independent, we aim to nurture a love of their subjects, and we will allow them the space to develop passion for their academic and personal interests. We will also support them as they plan their future destinations. I'm now going to address some frequently asked questions, and again, if questions are arising, do please use the meeting chat to make those questions. Changing subjects is something that's already come up this evening, so I'm going to address that first. Your child may want to change their subject choices between now and September. That might be after the taster day, it might be over the course of the summer, after their GCSEs, during their induction week in July, or it might even be in August when they get their GCSE results. In most cases, we should be able to accommodate this. We are oversubscribed, and especially in STEM subjects, and we've planned our school timetable for next year already with the choices that our new Year 12 students have made already in mind. However, rest assured that in most cases, it is possible to move choices, and where we can facilitate this, we will. Even into September, students will move courses, and many who start with 4 will have dropped to 3 by Christmas. This is all expected by us, and we will always support your child to work through the long process of making a successful A-level choice. Leading on from questions around choices around A-level, I'll start here looking at these FAQs. I'm going to have a look at the question of 3 or 4 A-levels, and I'm sure there may even be some students who are considering 5. 3 A-levels is what all universities in the UK are looking for. And there is no longer any course out there that asks for more than 3 A-levels. The last course that did was the medical course at GKT, where they asked for 3 in an AS, and they stopped doing that about 3 years ago now. So all courses in the UK ask for 3 A-levels. There is no requirement for 4. But 4 A-levels can allow for additional challenge for a student who is incredibly talented and thrives on challenge. So if academic challenge is something you're looking for and you are looking to pick up 4, and what we're talking about is maybe 20% of the cohort will take 4 A-levels. And so it is something that the very top students will do, but you have to remember the additional pressure, the additional homework, the additional time that taking 4 A-levels puts on the student. It really is better to maximise your 3 A-level grades before you start considering a 4th. So you really want to be performing at a high level. Why would you do it? One is academic challenge, and I think the second reason to do 4 A-levels is because of passion. It might be that you are studying STEM subjects, but you also you'd like to have a go, if you like, or really develop your natural talent for something like art, or it could be the other way around. But for many students, it's about examining and exploring their interest in a 4th A-level where they have a particular talent. That does happen. We've got one of the head students at the moment is taking STEM subjects. Their 4th A-level is classics. They're preparing for an Oxbridge application next year. They're in Year 12, and classics is their 4th that they're taking. It's just because they get on incredibly well with Mr. Dean. They really love reading. They love the lessons of Miss Figures and Mr. Dean. And classics, again, if you think about Oxbridge, is a really good A-level to choose. So 4 A-levels is possible here at Newstead. AS levels, likewise, are still possible. And you can see on here that the sciences and languages, classics, maths, I know that history also offer it. They have to be co-teachable. So the material you teach in Year 12 has to be the AS material. And I know, for example, there are some subjects like geography where that just isn't possible. It's not what's done at Newstead. Teachers have decided to teach in a different, better order. And so AS is not available in some subjects. It's worth asking. You should have had that information from departments this evening, and if you don't have that information, do get in touch. I can share that with you. The recommendation from me, I'm a parent as well, it would always be 3 A levels. And if you're looking to show something unique and special on your academic CV, then I think the one thing you really need to think about is an EPQ. And this is the extended project qualification. An EPQ is beneficial for a number of different reasons. It provides an opportunity for some independent academic research, where a student will choose a topic of their choice and they will write a 5,000 word essay, and they also give a presentation on everything they've learned. EPQs allow students who are studying 3 A levels to maybe show an interest in something that is extracurricular, something beyond what they're currently studying. That's the aim of the EPQ. It's really useful, for example, if you're looking at a subject like law or medicine, because you can't take an A level in law or medicine, but what you can do is you can take your 3 A levels and you can do an EPQ in law or an EPQ in medicine. You can research an area of that topic. So it's often useful for university preparation in that sense, that you're allowing the student is allowing themselves time to explore what their university degree area of choice will be, and to demonstrate that to universities and to demonstrate those university skills around independent learning and research. Another significant benefit of choosing an EPQ over an additional A level or choosing an EPQ over an AS level is that the EPQ is carried out on a different time, a different calendar really. So instead of a September to September calendar, we're talking about January to January. So you're actually taking your EPQ qualification, you are submitting your work at the very beginning of year 13, because you start it in the January of year 12, and then it means it's out of the way before you take your 3 A-level qualifications in the summer of year 13. You're submitting it at the very beginning in the September, October, November time of year 13. An additional benefit is that Russell Group universities, and these are some of the largest universities, the most popular universities in the country, often having a sense of prestige. Russell Group universities, it's worth remembering that Cambridge, Oxford and also Imperial are not actually Russell Group universities. So it's not always a sign of excellence, but typically Russell Group University is what we're aiming for at Newstead, if not Oxbridge, and they have agreed in some subjects to lower their offer by 1 A-level grade if the student successfully completes an EPQ and receives an A or an A-star in their EPQ. So with a well-developed EPQ, you can get a lower offer from university. Mr. Lewis is very proud of the EPQ. We've had exceptional results in the EPQ for the last few years, where we are looking at, I think, consistent 100% A-star or A grades in EPQ. So it's a really, really interesting thing to consider if you are considering either a top university, you're considering trying to improve your chances of getting into that top university. And if you want that additional challenge without the additional stress of having an extra qualification that you're taking in the same exam season as your other 3 A levels. We do get questions around sport in the 6th form. We provide sport on a Wednesday afternoon, as other schools in the area do as well in their 6th form. So we're able to play matches. In fact, our netball team has made it through. They won the county competition, and they're now at regionals representing Kent. So they certainly, sport is a significant part of what we do in the 6th form. Wednesday period 5, everyone has the opportunity to do it. Where we have people who are engaged in high performance sport, some obvious names come to mind, but it's not just about Emma Raducanu, it's also about people who are performing, say, rowing. We've got some national rowers, national tennis players in the 6th form at the moment, and they are able, around their studies, we fit in their sort of gym or their training. We've had netball players in the past as well. So We do encourage sport in the sixth form. It's a great way to maintain your well-being. It's a great way to be healthy and active. So yes, it's built into the timetable, but we'll also arrange with students times that they can do that if they're high performance. We also have students who use the tennis centre, continue at lunchtime and after school for things like badminton and tennis. So that is also available for the sixth formers. We've covered changing subjects. I'm going to look at this question of choosing A-levels for interest or career, because tonight is all about starting that conversation. Which A-levels do I want to take? Which ones am I interested in? What am I going to do with the next 2 years of my studies? I think that in many ways, the perfect situation is where what you're interested in is also what you would like a career in. Now, that's quite a big ask, because what we're thinking with the students who are here tonight is that we might have some 15-year-olds here who are being asked, what are you interested in? What do you want to do as a career? And this is a very big question for any 15 or 16-year-old, let alone 17 or 18-year-old to make. And so it's not about necessarily knowing right now. So don't feel like you have to know what career you want or what degree you want to do right now. If you do, that's brilliant, because you can start putting together all your choices around your A-levels, but also work experience and volunteering. But also remember that work experience, volunteering, A-levels are also an opportunity to explore. So don't shy away from that idea of exploring your interests through your A-levels. Always, students will do better in their subjects if they're interested. If you're interested, you'll do the additional reading. If you're interested, you will watch the video, the documentary, you'll listen to the podcast. If you're interested, you will go to the club or society at lunchtime. If you're interested, you will apply for the additional workshops and seminars that universities put on around that subject. You'll want to revise it, you will love it, and it will become a passion, and you will do very well. At the same time, we have to make sensible choices for future careers decisions. And what we want is for students to make sensible choices around their A-levels where they're guided by a number of different people to make the right decision. So we obviously have the heads of year. I love having this conversation with students. It's always a time where you find out a lot about them and about how they see their future sort of unfolding. But I think it's something also that other adults are going to be involved in. Obviously, students have form tutors, and we have our careers team, and year 11, just as much as sixth form, are available to make one-to-one appointments with the careers team to talk about their futures. But we also have parents, great parents here at Newstead, and parents are really important in this decision-making process as well. We have the real life experience. We do have a good knowledge, hopefully, of our children and what their strengths are, and trying to marry the two together. We want students who are interested in their A-level choices, which will give them a good and sort of successful future as well. So really it's a question of trying to balance these things. If you just go with what you're interested in and you don't have a future plan, you don't know where you're going, it can mean you finish sixth form and you simply don't know what to do. And that's in many ways a sense, I would get a sense from that you've been let down along the way. Someone in a position of authority has not given you some guidance. Guidance is different from making the decision for you. Guidance is important, and really trying to explore all the options available is what adults should be doing with you in order to encourage you to make the best decision. There has to be that interest, though. There has to be that interest. All of the students in Newstead in year 11 are exceptional. They really are. They are top 5% in this country. Now, they should be doing A-levels that they're going to do well in. So we really want to work with them. Staff, parents, we want to work with year 11 in order for them to make the best decisions possible. And I think, again, back to the very beginning of this evening, it's the beginning of a conversation today. We don't have to nail down any specific A-level right now. I think people need to go away, students need to go away and think about, what are you interested in? What do you want to study for 2 years? What might you be interested in as a career? What might you be interested in as a degree? And start to sort of maybe mind map or work out what subjects are important. A really important thing to do also is obviously to talk to the head of department, talk to your teachers. Do they think it's a good idea? Do they agree? Can they give you some guidance and some insight into what A-level might be like? Hopefully you'll get that tomorrow. I'm going to talk now about some of the other enrichment options available, but I'm going to pause for a second just in case there's any questions coming through to Miss Sword or Mr. Lewis that they would like me to address. Otherwise, I'll carry on.
I think, Mr. Warnock, there are a number of questions around the enrichment options, so I think that would be really useful.
Fine. OK, so on Wednesday afternoon in period 5, we have our enrichment opportunities that take place. We have had various things going on. I mean, I should have updated this slide because volunteering and driving lessons are something that we used to do over the last 2 years when we were encouraging students to be off site. They're actually something we don't offer now these days, but we have a growing enrichment offer. And even just today, we had the introduction of Italian and of a PPE enrichment on a Wednesday afternoon. So where we're having to remove now defunct enrichment, we will replace them with some exceptional offers. There's talk of art history coming in. There can be an opportunity on Wednesday period 5 for cultural enrichment. So we've got Italian, we have Japanology, and we encourage those kind of cultural learning to take place. We also have our sport taking place. We have a lot of preparation, if you like, for futures and university and Oxbridge, because that's what the demand is with our year 12. So we have an Oxbridge course that takes place, sort of a 6-week course that we ask students to do. That's run by has been run by Miss Sword. I know that Miss Robinson is our Oxbridge coordinator, is going to be taking that on as well. We have, as I say, our PPE course, which is a course I believe designed around looking at textual analysis. And given the increasing use of unseen texts in Oxbridge interviews that we've seen this year and last year, this is the practice that we need students to get to grips with for Oxbridge, looking at texts, analysing them, being able to comment on them. So that's coming through our PPE course with our head of PPE, Mr. Bootle. We also have our MDV course that's actually run by Mr. Blount. If you didn't know, he was a biology teacher, and he has a very well rehearsed MMI practiced interview, and so he also runs the MDV, the Medical Dental Veterinary preparation course. We have Model United Nations, and yes, it's about debate and discussion, but it's practicing those public speaking skills, confidence, talking formally, publicly. That we encourage that MUN. There's a conference at the end of the MUN season where they go to the LSE and they take part in a conference there. We are looking for new ideas around Wednesday enrichment, where staff or students have sort of got an offer or want to do something, we put it on. So there's an awful lot of things taking place, and the best thing we would encourage a student to do really is to do several of those enrichments. It's not like you choose Oxbridge for the whole year. If what you want to do is attend an elite university, you would probably do the Oxbridge course, the Model United Nations course, the PPE course, maybe it's the additional maths course if you're a mathematician, there's the MDV course if you're more on the science side, but you would also probably do one of the cultural courses as well, or sport. So when we're talking about a broad and enriching curriculum, what we're talking about is not a narrow just choosing one elective for the whole of year 12. What we're talking about is choosing maybe 3, 4, 5 different electives. You're able to swap every half term. We ask you to swap every term. So it's going to be somewhere between 3 and 6 different electives on the Wednesday period 5. And part of the enrichment offer, I mean, it's obviously not just limited to Wednesday period 5. You also have the Friday period 2 lecture. And this is put together with a couple of things in mind, really. The Friday 2 lecture is more about education. So there's a cultural diversity element to it. So we ask our own societies to contribute to the Friday lecture. We have the Pride Society, we have Afro-Caribbean Society, we have South and East Asian Society, and they will all run sort of celebratory and educational lectures around a topic of their choice to do with their society in the Friday lecture. So there's an element of, in terms of the diverse curriculum On the Friday lecture, we get some of that from our own students, from outside speakers as well. But the Friday lecture is also used for things like RSE, so relationship and sex education. We've had some speakers in talking about things like consent. It's also used for things like university and careers and work experience preparation. So we have University of Sheffield coming in a few weeks. We have Cambridge coming in a few weeks. We've got a talk on gap years on Friday this week. So the Friday lecture is about futures as well. So there's a number of different inputs into the Friday lecture. It takes place in the hall. Students are all seated together. It's a time to find out about some important things that are going to affect the students' futures, really. So it's about pushing their futures education, but also the diversity element, and also some RSE and PSHE as well. The Friday lecture is not the only place where we see PSHE and RSE. It also takes place during PM registration, and it follows the same sort of spiral system that we see lower down the school. So the topics that you look at in years 7 to 11, you continue to look at in the sixth form, but you're looking at it in an age appropriate way. So where you might have looked at relationships or consent or substance misuse lower down the school, you'll look at the same topic, but you'll look at it through the eyes of a sixth former rather than someone in year 11. That's run by your form tutor, and that's a sort of a half an hour session, 25-minute session once a week in form time. We also deliver further enrichment through our clubs and societies, and we have something approaching 20 clubs or societies that take place in the school today. Some of them are to do with diversity and inclusion, as I've already said. We have Pride Society and ACS. But we also have things like Social Justice Society, we have Law Society, we have MDV or Medical, Dental, Veterinary Society. We have societies which are really their response to the sort of student interest. So some of them can be sort of more political as well. They've got Feminist Society as well. So some of them are typical of mainstream. We've got school parliament that meet. So that's something you'll see in many schools, but we also have those things that make us unique. ACS, Feminist Society. I love these societies because they really show the flavour of the type of sixth former that comes to Newstead, and that is an essential part of the enrichment as well, is the expectation that students will go to clubs and societies, and not only that they will take part and listen, but actually that in year 12 they will lead them. So where we have Friday lectures being given by societies, part of that expectation is that year 12 are delivering some of the Friday lectures. But they're also providing that enrichment through their own coaching of younger students. They're learning about these topics themselves as well. There are some questions I know, and that's why I put it in here, that have come up around the Duke of Edinburgh, because obviously that didn't run for a little while. That and other enriching programmes are coming back online. So the Duke of Edinburgh is back up and running, and actually in the spring that's taking place at Newstead, involving our sixth form, I think also younger students as well. But we also have things like the Young Enterprise programme run by Miss Biggers, that runs, the engineering programme, the Goldcrest Award, that's run by either Mr. Sharma or Mr. Pittrick. That's also back and running. So the things like the so it's the young enterprise, and there's the EES, the something engineering scheme, which Mr. Pittrick runs. So those things are back up and running, meaning that there are specific programs that even though they're run by departments, they're sixth form specific. Okay, I'm going to.
We're running out of questions, Mr. Bornat. We've exhausted the questions in the chat box.
Okay, no problem. I will carry on with some here as well. Okay, so we have our careers team with Miss Brown and Miss Green. They are very focused. They obviously work with the lower school, but they're very focused on the sixth form. That is a key part of what they do in the school. They've been working here for 1.5 years, and they really have been pushing careers education, futures education, and they send weekly emails around work experience opportunities, volunteering opportunities, which can be so important in that university application. So those are shared, but also things like access schemes to university, things like master classes will also come through them. And alongside careers, we also have our Oxbridge coordinator. So between them, they're sharing an awful lot of different enrichment opportunities. And in order to access those, all the students really need to do is access their emails. And then what they should find is that on a daily basis, new opportunities for different things, be it university, careers, work experience, they are coming through and being shared from these members of staff. The careers team also meet one-to-one with every single member of Year 12 to give them future advice around their future choices. And they are sort of have an open door policy. You can drop in to speak with them. In fact, tomorrow, periods 1 to 5, careers are stationed down in the hall where we're doing our enrichment talk, and they're there all day to talk to students about A-level choices, career choices, degree choices, and they're a really valuable resource. They send a monthly newsletter, the careers newsletter. So do look out for that as parents of Year 11 and Year 11 students. Look out for that because there's often a lot of opportunities available. We get questions, frequently asked questions. How will we communicate with you about academic underperformance? Well, and I think that there's an associated question about how do we contact you regularly about academic performance in general. How do we celebrate the results, the good results as well? But in terms of underperformance, yes, we use reports on a termly basis, but we will contact you with letters home more regularly than that. There will be email and phone communication. Each year group, Year 12 and 13, they have dedicated members of staff. There's me, there's Miss Okchai, and we are here to communicate with parents around things like attendance, performance in lessons, and to put in place any of those supports that are going to help a student improve and make progress on their grades. We use a variety of different means, and you're probably used to it from Year 11, but it's good to reinforce. We have senior staff mentoring. We have regular departmental support sessions, that's revision sessions, lunchtime and after school. We have peer mentoring, so there are 13s helping 12s, 12s helping Year 11s. So we have peer mentoring scheme within the school. But it could also be about giving students additional studies, for example. It might be that they need, and it's working with students to come up with a sensible solution, but sometimes students are very honest and say, I just need more supervised studies. Now, supervised studies take place in 614, 615. It's a very big room, monitored by a member of staff, and students are expected to work in silence. Now, normally you would have 4 supervised studies a week, but students who are underperforming might be asked to have more supervised studies just to ensure they've got the time to do that, to do their work. But there's often, when there's underperformance taking place, the one thing I would say from my experience as the head of sixth form is that it's often nothing to do with laziness. It's often there is something that is stopping the student from achieving, and it might be personal and to do with pastoral issues. We have a pastoral support system, we have the student support room, we have dedicated pastoral supports like Miss Okchai in the sixth form, who's our head of year, who's a non-teacher, who's there for the students on a sort of permanently stationed basis in her office. We have the same timeout card system available, and we would work with students with their if they needed any pastoral care. That system is the same in the sixth form. But also sometimes it can be to do with attendance and punctuality, transport. It can be to do with the fact that someone doesn't have a textbook or doesn't have a laptop access or computer access or quiet space to work. There are so many things that can affect a student to underperform. What we won't do is automatically assume the student's being lazy and punish the student. What we'll do is work with the student to try and get them to enjoy school, to enjoy sixth form, to enjoy their lessons. And once they are happy, then they will once they are feeling well, they will do well. When students feel supported, they perform much better. And that's the sort of mantra we take in the sixth form. You can't do well if you're not well. And so with academic underperformance, we will support students, not punish them, in order to help them improve. However, saying that, where punishments are required, as you heard earlier on, we still have a late detention, and we still have detentions for poor behaviour and that sort of thing. So standards are still there, but I just think that it's important to say this isn't the issue that students face. Certainly not at Newstead.
Mr. Bonner, I'm conscious your passion for the sixth form, that you'd be here this evening, we'd be here till midnight, and I am conscious of the time.
Oh, I'm not. Okay. Should have stopped me here. Right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. As Miss Sword says, I'm happy to talk about sixth form and talk about the various things that you need if you have any questions. So if you have any questions, bring them tomorrow. This is to the students. Bring them tomorrow to Taste Today. Speak to me down in the hall. Speak to your form tutor. Speak to your teachers. Email sixthform@newsteadwood.co.uk and just keep the conversation going. I hope you've had a good evening. Chance to speak with teachers. Chance to hear from me and the head student. But if you have questions, stop us in the corridor and have a chat. We look forward to Taste Today. Tomorrow, we look forward to our induction week in the summer, and I look forward to working with you all next year as you're pursuing your A-levels and future choices. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I hope you have a good evening.